hunger in America is real. Children come to school every single day not having access to food, not knowing whether they're going to have 3 meals a day.
Let's go! No! So close. Really gorgeous. Oh, baby boy, we got $100 dono.
Partnering with No Kid Hungry has allowed us to provide access to breakfast for all.
We're doing quests on PC today and raising money for charity. Fork yeah.
We did it! We did it! We did it! Okay, now can we pick these guys up?
What? Thank you so much. Thank you, Zerog. Your name's going on a cup.
Landar, thank you for the $5 for charity. Very kind of you.
As well. So we did Toga. We did our job.
That's a lot of spiders. We defeated the spiders and we get the potato party. The Eye of Sauron has spotted me.
I don't know if it gets any better than this, and I can't say enough, Impulse. We couldn't have picked a better person to lead the charge, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Found in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, lies one of the fastest tracks on most schedules in America. It's Road America here, and we're here for the next round of the Area Cup Series. My name is Finney Nakuna here with Hunter Slepley, and shortly in a little while, Kyle Hire will be joining us in the booth. Hunter, we're here for another road course here at the Temple of Speed.
Indeed, and it's none other than the No Kid Hungry 215, a fundraiser from Share Our Strength. It's a non-profit that works to solve problems with hunger and poverty in the United States. And over the last 10 years or so, the No Kid Hungry campaign has done so much to help out child hunger and those that need to get food. And we have a donation link that'll be down in the chat for you guys to go ahead and donate. But I'm looking forward to this. It's our last road course of the season for the Cup side of things. Currently at the top of the leaderboard, it's James Scioli, and he is the man to beat whenever it comes to these road courses. Looking back at the Glen, he led 22 of the 50 laps in that one, and we got 33 laps today. And before you go, oh, why so low lap count? This track is over 4 miles long just to do one lap. Got under 33 slated tonight here, Finney, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's a long track, so that's why the low amount of laps, but it's going to be a lot more for a lot of these drivers to make some moves here, especially drivers, again, that don't have a win and need one to seal the deal, notably Cameron Hearn, one of those drivers. I think he actually dropped outside the top 20 in this series, so he's going to have to hope for a solid night to get some solid points in. Looking at the team standings real quick before we got qualifying starting, Solid Rock Performance leading with only one win, just showing how consistent they've been with across their drivers this season, just over Solar Flare Racing by 9 points with their 2 wins, followed by Miller Racing with 2 wins to their name, as well as Lucky Duck Motorsports, and then Bowie Esports running at your top 5.
Yeah, very tight for the top 4, and that's actually new. Solid Rock Performance taking over the top of the team standings after Atlanta, which was oddly enough won by a Solar Flare driver in Jake Nichols, but it is a team side of things after all when it comes to team standings, and it's only the highest 2 for those in your team. So Solid Rock Performance, they definitely had the upper hand last week, but Solar Flare Racing looking to get the upper hand this week and retake the team points lead.
Got qualifying underway, and we got Chris Rabel here with No Kid Hungry on the hood and on the sides of that car. It's a great looking car, orange, black, and white. Look very well together. So great livery for the 29. As you can see on the bottom of your screen, you can see the donations given so far, as well as the last donation. So if you, again, want to leave a donation here, links are going to be in the chats for both YouTube and Twitch, I believe. So click on them and please donate if you can to reach that goal here. We got qualifying underway. So Chris Rabel out and away. Connor O'Kresick in the 14 is out on track. Ricky Springer, we know that we know that he's usually good at road courses, as he's going off into the dirt for an off-road excursion.
Oh, we need to update the donate link in the Twitch. It still has the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. You can donate to that too, but we're going to try and get a donate link properly for the Twitch side of things for No Kid Hungry. But yeah, you see the 51 there of Ricky Springer. Okay, still working on that, but he's a part of the Solid Rock Performance team that, oddly enough to the name, has been Solid Rock Performance all year long. Looking to get a interesting looking to get a good run here at this interesting track. And there is the winner from last week from Atlanta, Jake Nichols in the 73, looking to go back-to-back.
Yeah, trying to see if he can get it done and make 3 wins this season. He's currently tied in the wins column. Trying to see if he can separate himself out. He's currently tied with James Scioli. Scioli 7th in the points, though, when you line them up all by the amount of points. But Jake Nichols, also just want to talk about, he has been really consistent. He hasn't broken out and gotten as many wins as you've seen him get in season past, like last season where he won nearly every race. I think more than half of the races last season. Only won 2 so far this season, but with the 9 races we've had, he has finished in the top 5 in all 9 of them. That's impressive.
That is indeed impressive. It just shows the consistency that Jake Nichols has, and it's not a surprise that he's going for another championship on top of the one he's won over the last couple of years here in the Area Cup Series as he continues his lap.
Continuing on the back straightaway, trying to find some of the drivers that have started a lap already. James Scioli, we'll talk about him. Another driver with 2 wins and also got no Kid Hungry, different livery in a Chevy Camaro as he's working his way through his first time lap.
Indeed, as we continue to see the No Kid Hungry paint schemes you've seen over the last couple of broadcasts that we've had on Sim TV, and James Scioli, one of them, and if any, this is the guy to beat. He won earlier this year at Watkins Glen. He's been dominating on the Pro Series side of things, and no shock that this guy is a contender, but can he get the pole time?
That's going to really be a big question here, as a lot of drivers still, and this track, this is the funny thing too, this track is so long, and the lap time is so long. You guys are halfway through qualifying, and they still haven't completed their first lap. So if you didn't get going immediately, you really don't have a whole lot of time to play with. It looks like GT Pool, one of the first drivers to come across the line, but it looks like his lap is going to be a dirty one, so it won't count. And James Scioli looks like he comes through the final corner, will be one of the first drivers to make it back to the start-finish line. Key thing, though, will it be a quick lap, and is it a clean lap for this number 7?
Well, let's see as he comes uphill. Going to be very close for the 7s. You see the times there on the left-hand side of your screen. And no surprise, 7 at the top of the board with a 2:10.35, I believe. Cameron Hearn has a time up there as well. He actually missed last week, was still on vacation with the fam, and unfortunately dropped him outside the top 20 in points. So if he wants to be in the postseason, he's got to get back inside the top 20.
Yeah, I was looking at Cameron Hearn, saw him there, just peek to the top, was one of the first drivers to make it back. Is going to drop down to 6 at the moment as the first couple of times are trickling on through. There is Jake Nichols here on the back half of the course, working his way through the carousel, and this is such a tricky corner to get right, let alone in a sports car, let alone a stock car that is just you're basically just trying to wrestle through some of these high-speed corners.
Indeed, as this is probably one of the fastest bits on the track, other than the long front stretch and other long back stretch, because it's got such a tight curve going through that right-hander. Then you go down this little woods trail There you're going over to the right-hand turn. Just a few more corners to go before you complete the lap. Now this one, you're going to want to watch getting over this bit because it's going uphill. And you can just see him come from left to right on your screen. If you go wide there, that's going to mess you up for this last turn. And you're going to want to make sure that you don't overdrive it because you're going to be in the gravel trap, and that's going to offset your car. So Jake Nichols in the 73 coming across to complete his lap.
This kind of slow, actually. 2:14.
Wow. I'll make sure that he's heard your message about this lap time. I'm sure he already knows.
He's in 12th. It's not, I mean, for his standards, too, I'm sure this is pretty slow. I wonder if he was just trying to take a banker lap, just get the tires rolling up, and now push on lap number 2 that these guys have with them. So he's going to try to push here. I imagine he's going to try to push, see if he can get back up that order. James Scully here working now on lap 2 as well. Trying to see if there's anyone else we haven't mentioned. Michael Curran in the number 24 Ford Mustang, working his way through the final few corners. He's about to complete lap number 2. Is sitting in 3rd, trying to chase down Hartz and Scioli up ahead of him.
And as you can see, the fastest time was it was a second over Ryan Hartz over there with the second quickest time. But Michael Curran, 3rd quickest on the board. That'll be an interesting starting spot for him if he can hold on to that. David Weishart, he led the most laps. Oh, up to 2nd. Oh, we get 2 laps for the road courses. Oh my. All right. Well, you learn something new every day. But you got to touch up on the 33 of Weishart. He's currently got the 5th quickest time. Led the most laps in Atlanta. Didn't come through with the win. Going to be interesting to see what his left and right skills are as the 73 of Nichols comes to complete another lap. And the 66 of Brandon Six
coming on through. A smiley face on the helmet of that driver. Will he be happy enough to be on pole, though? No, we actually had an invalidated lap, so Brandon Six will have to hold on to 8th at the moment. That is, unless anyone else decides to beat him. There's actually quite a few drivers on a second lap with a bad first one. Seth Knoll coming up and over the hill, and I don't think this lap will count either. So looks like he's going to be starting from the back. Jordan Martin out on his lap. Travis Beckner out on his lap. Oh, and actually Knoll's lap did count. Correction. He's going to be in 12th. Beckner across the line. Will this lap count? 2:11.8. It's a decent lap. And it'll hold up in 8th for the number 28 machine. Now, where is Jake Nichols in all this? There he is. This is going to be the big question. Will he be starting back from 18th? Can he improve? 2:10.9. That was a quick lap. And it will hold for 4th place. Frankie Broso also, got to mention him. Coming out of nowhere, 2nd place for him.
Indeed, as we've got a minute remaining in qualifying, and if anyone's coming out to complete their lap, you better hurry up and do so. Like I said, these 4 miles to do 1 lap, so roughly about 2 minutes. So if you're Douglas Newbigging, you're going to be coming around to complete this one and make sure you got enough in the tank there. As over in the Twitch chat, we got the proper link, and it's pinned in our chat, so you can go ahead and click on that to donate to No Kid Hungry. And they are also in the Twitch chat tonight, and our poll question's also in there as well for you guys to wager your channel points. Who will win this race? You could use exclamation point bet Nichols, Hartz, Springer, Beckner, Scioli, or other. Wagers as little as 100 channel points up to 100,000 channel points.
Whoa, Ricky Springer hauling through the final corner. Is going to be his last attempt, and one of the last few drivers to come across the line with under 30 seconds remaining. To the start-finish line you go. This might be a decent one here, a 2:11.3, and that'll put him up into 6th place. Michael Sturgill definitely not going to complete a lap. He's on the other half of the course. He's going to have to submit to being starting from the back. As well as a couple other drivers, actually quite a few drivers electing not to put a time down. Bit interesting.
That is very interesting. In a race where we don't have yellows on road courses, there's no stage yellows, there's no yellows for incident, there's none of that. So if you make a mistake, you're putting yourself in a deep hole that you can't get out of.
Yeah, that's one of those things, too, where it's like, I would think you want to at least try to attempt making the lap, just so, you can at least try to be somewhat in the order, or at least be not the last guy, for the guys that didn't qualify, you gain about probably 8 spots just by putting in some sort of lap down. But before we start off for our grid, just want to give a shout out to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all Area broadcasts commercial free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll also be able to earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. And you also want to give a thanks to Roasted Gems Coffee, our starting grid sponsor. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com.
All right, looks like the warm-up's about over, Finian, and we got our starting grid, and hopefully some of these drivers, especially if you're starting in the back, you're going to need a cup or two of Roasted Gems coffee in order to find your way up through the field.
I was actually just checking, too, to see where these guys are gridded up and see if it was a short pace lap or not, because they definitely would have needed a cup of Roasted Gems coffee to get through the starting lineup, because they would have started out of Canada corner, and that's not a long shot up to the start-finish line here. But we got quite a bit of time to go, so let's start with your starting lineup here. James Scully starting on pole in the number 7 machine. See if you can win from there. And Frankie Barroso, too. Got to mention this. Great lap for the number 12 car. Going to be rolling off from second place.
That could be a huge run for Frankie Barroso in the 12. In row number 2, it's Michael Kern rolling off third, and Jake Nichols rolling off P4.
In behind them, Ryan Hart's going to be rolling off in 5th place. Ricky Springer in the 51 will be starting in 6th.
And then rolling off in P number 7. We're waiting on the... There it is. Greg Mitchell in the 2. Going to roll off P7. David Weissar in the 33. Rolls off 8th.
Moving on back to 9th place. Connor Kresick in the number 14 is going to be joined with Travis Beckner in the 28, rounding out your top 10.
And 11th, it's Brandon 6 in the 66. And back from vacation, looking to get a hold of Road America, it's Cameron Aaron rolling off P12.
We are back to Rafe Slate in 13th place, and starting the inside next to him, JT Poole in the 26 car is going to be rolling off in 14th.
15th is Seth Knoll in the 1. 16th is Cedric Hunter for row 8.
Moving on back to 17th, is going to be Douglas Newbegin in the 71. Next to him, Bryce Senezak in the 09 from 18th.
Then row number 10 is going to be Tyler Nichols rolling off 19th in the 41 car, and Skylar Shackelford will kick off in 20th position.
Moving on back to 21st, Cosmin Yonashi was going to be rolling off in the 84 car. Next to him, Chris Rabel in the 29 in 22nd.
23rd is Garrett Grant in the 5 car, and 24th is going to be Nate Trito in the 9. Haven't seen Trito in a few races, so good to see him back on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't seen him in quite a while as well, so good to see him back. Connor Horton going to be rolling off in P25 in the 42 machine. His teammate next to him, Jeremy Miller, in the 30 and 26th.
27th is Ben Pierce in the 65, and next to him is the 64 of Ed Robertson rolling off 28th.
Moving on back to 29th, it's going to be Michael Sturgill in this number 17 machine. Dwayne Culberson in the 81 is going to be next to him in P30.
Rolling off in your last row, but not the least row, Jordan Martin, 11 car, going to be rolling off 31st, and 32nd is Delonte Ballard in the 21.
All right, and that's going to wrap up your Roasted Gems starting lineup here from Road America. 32 cars taking the grid. Well, it actually looks like we don't have Connor Horn in the, at least gridding here. Nate Trito as well doesn't look like he's taking the grid, unless that's an error. I know that iRacing can sometimes be a little tricky with that. And yeah, it looks like neither of them are joining us, at least for the initial start.
Well, that's going to be big for both drivers, especially Nate Trito. Like I mentioned, we haven't seen him in a, as the kids say, hot minute. So it'll be good to see him eventually get back onto the track. And then Connor Horn as well. He looks like he could afford to miss a race, but
well, I also see him
on the postseason. I wouldn't recommend it.
I do also see him in the Discord. I see him like literally right below our channel. I see him with Jeremy Miller and Skylar Shackelford. So I think he's trying to join in. I think he might be coming from somewhere. So well, we'll see if he makes the grid. I think he might be trying to join into the server. So he might be starting from the pits, in which case he's got a little bit of a long night ahead of him.
You know what? I'm actually looking here now. We're Now we're chat. Start and parking for the 42. I've never tried driving on controller, and I'm not doing it during a road course race. So there's your explanation for that.
I mean, there are other drivers in the field that are driving on a controller, so I mean, you might as well join the crowd, I guess. I still never would have thought when I started doing iRacing about 10 years ago, over 10 years ago now, that it would ever be possible to drive on a controller. I just thought the way the physics work, you would just have to have a wheel. But I've been proven wrong, because there's some people here that are completely driving in circles with guys with wheels, and it blows my mind that they have that level of talent.
There's quite a few people in here that actually do run on controller. I don't think it's all the time, but some of the time it is on controller for some drivers as the field's making their way through. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. My pick to win the 7 is Scioli. I don't know if you have the same pick, Finian, but it's hard to beat this 7 car on a road course.
You know what? Who I'm liking, 24, Michael Curran. I think we've seen him do pretty well at some of the road courses in the past. I think I'm going to have to go with the number 24, Michael Curran. He's got a solid starting position, just one more than Jake Nichols. It's overly going to come down to the start, really, for these guys. If they can get a good and a clean start is also going to be the big caveat, because remember, no cautions for these drivers. Once we go green, we're finishing this thing out under green. So if you make a mistake, you're going to have to drive your way back up to wherever you were to make up for it here. As the pace car is coming through Canada Corner, the final few corners here, and this is definitely going to be an action spot tonight. Heaviest braking zone probably on the entire track, I would argue, other than turn 5, as they work their way around, catching back up to the pace car. It's gonna be the final time we're gonna see the pace car out here, and the field be given in control to James Scioli.
Interested in how Barroso goes on this initial start. He's 21st in points, so if he does somehow win, that will put him inside the top 20. So interesting eye to keep an eye on. Interesting car to keep an eye on as pace car pulls off. And we're about to go green from Road America.
A giant hill awaits these drivers, and once they crest over, they're going to see the green flag here for 33 laps on the board. And there they go, green flag in the air. We are green here at Road America. Two by two, they will go down into turn number 1. Scioli looks like he's going to beat Frankie Barroso to the punch. Michael Curran in behind, trying to see if he can work his way on through to get a spot.
And they're going to work their way downhill now into turn number 3. Yes, this is turn 3 somehow, but everyone's double file. Yeah, I don't know why that
there's a
should
little bit of a kink in the middle, the same way that this is turn number 4, even though they're pretty much going straight on through. And Frankie Barroso is going to be relegated back to 3rd place. And actually, Ryan Hart's able to overtake the 73 of Jake Nichols, but he's going to try to beat him into turn 5. They will go. You can see Barroso going a little bit defensive in behind them. Travis Beckner going in 4 wide for a second. As there's a wreck in the background.
Oh, huge wreck. They're separated in front of him.
Greg Mitchell around in the front and in the middle of the field.
Is that David Weishart?
I think it is.
Weishart facing the wrong direction there. A lot of chaos heading into the first hard braking zone and potential passing zone as take a look at it with our SimRat market replay.
Trying to see if I can even find him through the order. Trying to see in the background, you're going to see, we'll start actually with Greg Mitchell because he was at the epicenter of the front part of it. He got spun around, or got loose, I should say, out of turn 5, and then was just kind of caught up in the middle of everything. There is the 33 sideways, and then in behind them as well, I don't know who caught the grass. See Travis Beckner. I saw someone go way wide.
Yeah, it was right.
Oh, the 88, Skylar Shackelford. Oh, spun the rear tires, downshifted too quickly, went on through. He actually didn't hit anyone, surprisingly, but was involved in that giant scramble out of turn 5.
Yeah, very interesting opening lap to say the least, but now those drivers that were caught up in a mess, they're pretty much in a hole the rest of the race, trying to get their way back towards whatever front that they can dream of, like David Weishart especially, facing the wrong direction, 30th. Huge fall for him on the opening lap, but Michael Curran still just about a second behind Scioli, and Barroso holding on to 3rd, but not for long. Here comes Hartz.
There's Hartson also in behind. Further back, Connor Kresik, Rafe Slate racing side by side into turn 1. Drag race on the front straightaway. A bit of a lock-off. Saw a puff of smoke from the 14. I know Kresik's going to have to yield. Rafe Slate up a spot. Here comes Cedric Hunter now poking his nose in his Ford Mustang. Brandon 6 trying to follow his way on through.
Ooh, the little door bang there from the 14 of Kresik as we're riding on board with Mr. Jim's Coffee 07 of Cedric Hunter.
Riding on through the middle straightaway here. Now side by side, Brandon 6, and then behind them, Greg Mitchell, Douglas Newbegin into the braking zone. Ooh, and Brandon 6 looks like he's going to fly through the corner. Couldn't slow the car down in time. Kresik sideways through the corner. Cedric Hunter wide, as well as Douglas Newbegin. These guys are really struggling with turn 5.
Yeah, turn 5 is a crucial zone for braking and potential passing zone if you want to send it in deep, but these guys are doing it unintentionally. They're struggling to get to the proper speed through that turn as Cosmin Yonoshiwu there was looking for a position, but rides 16th, already up 5 spots, just avoiding the melee around him.
I was going to say, this is the only European in the field. He should know this. This should be the back, like, he should know these tracks like the back of his hand, making left and rights on road courses, working his way up through the order, up 5 spots. And really, I think really the big thing for a lot of these drivers is keeping yourself out of trouble. I know it's very tempting to try to make up spots, make some aggressive moves, but you do not want to take yourself out early on. You already saw a couple mistakes from drivers on lap 1 and close mistakes from drivers on lap 2. Oh, Brandon 6, speaking of which, hard into the wall out of the kink. And it looks like it might be an early retirement for the 66. What happened here?
Well, this is heading into turn 11.
Oh, went wide.
Just carried too much speed, lost it in the grass, and that's all she wrote.
Eat all she wrote. So for Brandon 6, it looks like he's going to call it a night here, and I don't blame him because, again, that's some decent damage, especially with this thing. Although, that being said, we've seen you've been able to, you can repair quite a bit with this next-gen car, but I think he just doesn't want to bother because he's going to be down in a pigeonhole that he really can't climb back out of.
Absolutely, as we look at the 51 of Springer and the 3 of Hartz. Hartz was on the bumper of Barroso for 3rd a couple of laps ago, well, actually a lap ago, but now he's fallen back to 6th and is trying to regain some focus underneath the 3.
Riding on board with him, heading into turn 5, going down through the gears from 5th all the way down to 1st. And you got to be really careful with it because we saw with Douglas Newbegin on lap 1. If you downshift too quickly, the rears spin, the rear tires will spin, and you have a chance of spinning out if you can't control it. So you got to finesse it down the gears. Looking at Travis Beckner a little bit back. He's got a bit of a train building up. Seth Knoll, Cameron Hearn, JT Poole, and Rafe Slate all in behind.
Yeah, Beckner is another one to keep an eye on the road courses here, but 7th currently for the 28 car as Noel Hearn and JT Poole round out the top 10. And Cameron Hearn was actually asking Travis about lap times, and Travis said, oh, I ran a 2:12 flat. And then Cameron goes, oh, so now I'm really slow. But Travis tried to reassure him that the car gets better on the longer run. And there's actually, you see the front end of the 2 of Mitchell, Cameron Hearn's teammate with some damage there, and ooh, that car in front of him just went wide.
Connor Kresik.
Yeah, Beckner tried to reassure Cameron that it's all good. The car gets better on the longer run, and I'm interested in seeing how that goes. Only on lap 3 of 33.
Yeah, still a lot of racing left, and with that too for these drivers, you really need to start conserving your stuff from the get-go. I imagine these guys are only going to have to make one stop. Well, I'd be surprised if they have to make more than that. So you're going to have to carry your tires quite a bit, and it is so easy to abuse them by just jumping on the gas pedal coming out of some of these corners, because these cars, even though 670 might not be as much as we've seen in the past with the Cup cars, it's still quite a bit of power to put down. So if you don't modulate it, and we saw, I think, Ricky Springer in particular towards the end of qualifying, he was sliding that rear end around. It is so easy to do that, and you're going to just burn up your tires.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Seth Knoll about the fuel situation with the Cup car. Said that they could go around 15 to 19 laps, but you can definitely try to stretch it if you really want to go further than 18 or 19 laps. So it seems like it will be a one-stop race. Just depends on when you pit, and how well you get on and off of pit road, because some guys overslide their pit box or they beat on pit road, and you just got to be perfect on execution from pit in to pit exit, as the one of Noel continues to run in 8th.
Yeah, I think he actually just made a pass on Cameron Hearn, or it's at least fighting with Cameron Hearn for 8th place. So where he's running in 8th, Cameron Hearn in 9th. Actually, Seth Noel, one of the biggest movers. Actually, Scripps said he's not the biggest mover. Michael Sturgill is the biggest mover. Started in 28th, is up to 18th. Been a slow charge forward for the 17.
Not a surprise there. When I hopped into the Discord today, he was the first driver on, just logging laps and trying to get a handle for this racetrack. So not surprised that he's the quickest mover of the race, just trying to get a balance for the car, and seems like it's doing just well.
Yeah, you see these guys working their way through the carousel. You'll see a bunch of different lines that a lot of the drivers are taking through the carousel as well. Trying to get all that speed through the corner.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite bits on the track, just because you're essentially driving through the woods. It's a cool sight to see for fans at the track, virtual and real life fans. And then you see them come out of there for the final couple of corners, and Jonas Shiwu's got a mirror full right behind him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's holding up quite a few drivers. Douglas Newbing and Jeremy Miller both look like they're faster as Newbing gets out a little bit wide. Here comes a 30 trying to look up the inside. And now he's going to be side by side. Sturgill trying to also race him. Will we go 3 wide on the front straightaway? There's just about enough for room, but not a whole lot of space.
I wouldn't recommend 3 wide through this bit. It's super tight here. There's a good view of the cars. Well, they're in the wilderness getting in the way, but here
Miller going in hot, going to door the 71 out wide, and they both take a trip through the gravel trap.
Yep, that will 30 car getting back going. There's a position for Weishart as we take a look at the Simrad Market replay on board the 30 Miller.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to see if he can outbrake the 71. Unfortunately, that turn comes up on you pretty quickly here. I'm trying to see if we can get from, I guess Sturgill would be a good person to ride on board with as well. See his point of view. This is riding in from the back of the 71 at Douglas Newbing. You see me actually back out because I think he sensed something aggressive was going to go down. And there it is. There's the 30 going to the 71.
That's an easy way to get positions. Just let the guys beat and bang in front of you and just pick up the leftovers.
Ooh, Cosmin Yonashi was gone for a little bit of an excursion. Is back with Douglas Newbing, who was just running with a few corners ago. And now trying to defend from David Weishart as Weishart's on his recovery drive. And so far, so good. Up to 20th. Might have a chance to get 2 spots here, but these 2 guys are holding up everyone in behind. Big stack out of turn 8. Here we go, and Jeremy Miller's back in the scrap with it as they work their way through the carousel.
Yeah, gonna have to buy your time there, and that's the 5 of Garrett Grant letting everyone go in the beautiful area shop paint scheme.
Everyone flying through the kink. Flat out and high down first cars, you definitely have to lift in these things. Looks like, ooh, how about this? Connor Kresick, Seth Noel side by side through the final few corners. This is a tough section to go side by side with, especially in a stock car. And here we go, drag race now on the front straightaway between both of them.
Well, this is going to help the driver behind them, Cedric Hunter, as they're door to door. Although Noel's going to lose a spot, Kresick's going to come up and block him, but going to have the draft. Now he's going to cut down to the inside as they head towards turn 1. Whoa, very close there.
Tight quarters there, I should say. Cedric Hunter in the mix as well, just looking on from behind, trying to see if he can get 2 spots out of this if these 2 collide.
Just buying his time as still on the early stages of the race, lap 6 of 33, but the Cedric Hunter machine buying his time as Scioli continues to lead with Michael Curran 2nd, Jake Nichols 3rd, Barroso down the 4th, but Ricky Springer holding that top 5 spot from Ryan Arch behind.
Yeah, taking a look here, and Michael Curran the fastest out of the top 5 last lap through. Jake Nichols, you mentioned, up 1 spot on Frankie Barroso. Barroso still, though, having a fantastic run. Never really saw him as a road course driver. I'm trying to see where he finished on the last road course race we had. I don't know, Hunter, if you could find that information for me as well. I'm trying to find him on the standing sheet. Let's see, Watkins Glen, you finished 13th there.
Maybe some drivers can handle other tracks better than others, and it seems like Road America is definitely up to his taste amongst road courses compared to Watkins Glen, as he tries to fend off Ricky Springer there, and all over his mirror for the 4th position.
Yeah, and actually, if Brosa can hang on here, and I think he should be able to at least hang on to the top 10 if he continues running this way. He was in a bit of a slump from Michigan, Bristol, Darlington, finished outside of the top 25, finishing 25th at Darlington, and then 30th at Bristol, 33rd at Michigan. Last couple of races have been looking a lot better for him. Pocono finished 9th, and then last week at Atlanta finished 6th, so he's been moving up and up. He's going to try to see if he can get 4th, but Ricky Springer wants 4th place at the moment.
Going to buy his time and try to force the 12 of Barroso into overdriving one of these corners as we ride aboard the dash of the 51.
And again, that is so easy to do, to try to make someone overdrive, especially if they're not too particularly used to driving a stock car on a road course, because these things are so unedged. You can see it with these guys when they get on the acceleration, when they get on the brakes, the car twitching around. The handling's not quite there, not exactly like you would want in like a prototype or a GT car. Speaking of which, Springer going to go to the left-hand side and going to clear Barroso before they get to turn 5.
Delph just from the run that he had off the corner. Springer up to 4th. Now going to try and reel in 73 of Jake Nichols, who is now about 6 seconds behind our race leader, James Scioli.
Looking a little bit further on back, Travis Beckner ahead of Cameron Hearn, JT Poole. This battle's kind of continued out. For the last couple laps, Hearn's been content riding in behind Travis Beckner. Now, remember, Cameron Hearn has a win this season. That being said, he is 28th in the points. See, did you actually miss a race? Or I know
Yes,
Atlanta?
he missed Atlanta. He was still on vacation. Looking at how far back he is compared to Garrett Grant. It's about 27 points separating Cameron Hearn from Garrett Grant. And not only that, he's got Frankie Barroso in front of him in points, so that's not going to help Hearn's case at all. But still a couple of races to go, including tonight's race from Road America, excuse me. We were at Atlanta last week. After that, it's the Indianapolis Oval and Talladega, and that's a wild card amongst itself.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we saw Ricky Springer take the win at Talladega last year after getting a win earlier in the season, and then almost took it in the Final Four in the last race of the season, almost took the championship. So we could see something from Hearn if he doesn't get another win or get enough points to get inside the top 20. He's got some time, but at the same time, he's also kind of running out of time here with the calendar, at least the regular season, slowly coming to a close. And trying to look here. Looking down the order, Seth Knoll right in behind Rafe Slate. Greg Mitchell, I gotta say, Greg Mitchell, despite the damage to that car, he's been having a pretty good run up into 10th and was, started in 7th, so he had a quick car underneath him. Obviously got caught up in that giant kerfuffle in turn 5 on lap 1. So got some damage to the car, but I mean, you can't fix it. I definitely don't want to spend time fixing it. I mean, I guess if it's not a meatball and your engine's not overheating, you might as well continue running out with it.
Yep. Might as well. It's not gonna do too much for you. So try to get the most out of it, and that is definitely what the 2 of Mitchell has, especially after the blunder on lap 1. Also, David Weissard has moved up to the 17th position as right behind Mitchell. Got a kerfluffle there for the 11th position between the 1 of Seth Knoll, and then he actually just took the position away from Rafe Slate right behind him. But Slate trying to come back on the outside. Not going to work this corner. Next corner, he might if he jumps to the inside, but 1 of Knoll has the preferred line going in the turn.
And it looks like he's just going to hold off the 8th of Rafe Slate here, but as they now head under the Speedway Bridge into the carousel, Slate has a chance to get back on it if he can get a good run out. There's Connor Okrezik in the background as well.
Okrezik there holding on in 13th position as Kazuma Yoshiwu actually came down pit road.
Yes, he actually had a penalty. He was issued a penalty. I'm going to read the note from the admins for an incident on lap 5. So you get a drive through. So he already served that drive-through, and now he's back in 28th, just actually passed Ed Robertson there for 27th.
Michael Kearns actually closed the gap a little bit between himself and Kyle. It was almost 2 seconds. It's down to 1.3 seconds as they make their way towards turn 3.
Yeah, it looks like he made up about 0.4 of a second last lap. So Skyole now starting to feel that gap close in. And I think for Curran, really, again, with we're now actually, I would say, quite a few laps remaining. We're about a third of the way through this race, so their time is ticking down. That being said, though, he really just has to manage this gap, I think, up until the pit stops. And then once the pit stops occur, then start to reel in Skyole and start to put the pressure. Now I think it's really just about tire management, keeping his car in the right position, because he's looking at a good shot. I don't believe Curran's got a win this season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Curran, he does not have a win. He's got 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s to his name, but he sits currently 8th in the point standings and is one of the highest in points without a win. But obviously a win would help him quite a bit. But got to go back to Auto Club a season ago when he won it in a 3-wide battle. That whole last lap was crazy, but he was the victor out of that, and it propelled him into the championship 4. So you can run on consistency, and whenever the time is right, you pounce on it to get your first win of the season, no matter where it is. As he had a moment there coming out of the kink in turn 11. But he's definitely making up some ground and keeping up with the 7 of Skyole. I would definitely keep an eye on Curran as a potential spoiler for this race.
I think really the big thing, though, I'm just a little worried with the way, even in the Canada corner, too, he looks like he was really pushing the limits of this car. So he's got a great run going, and even if he doesn't win this race, a second-place finish is nothing to laugh at. So I'm just concerned that he might push a little bit too far, especially, and this is the hard thing with this kind of racing, when you know you have to manage yourself and your equipment, but the prize is right ahead of you a second up the road. It's really tough to hold yourself back, and it looks like Travis Beckner's had a bit of an issue in Canada corner here. This is down the straightaway. I think he might have outbraked himself.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just got a little too wide, just clipped the gravel, and that's all it takes. And that little blunder cost him 2 positions.
Could have been a lot worse. They actually did a great job of rolling that car down just to make sure he didn't go flying. Because once you get off into the gravel, into the grass, the car goes off into the wall very easily. As JT pulls all over the back of Cameron Hearn, almost took him out there in turn 1. And here comes back.
Gonna have a run. Yep, gonna have a run on Poole here, heading into turn 3. Gonna just get close to the bumper. Barely makes contact. I don't think he did. But he's going to have a run here down this super long straightaway.
This is what makes Road America so fun. These long straightaways give a great chance for the pursuing car to get a run. And here comes Beckner. Looks out to the left-hand side. He actually chooses not to dive on the 26 car. Oh, Cameron Hearn made a big mistake in turn 5, went out wide. Now he's back in this battle, and they're all battling for 7th position now.
Yeah, lucky number 7's up for grabs, and any one of these 3 could run with it, but then again, any one of these 3 could lose it. We saw Beckner lose 7th a lap ago, not even a lap ago, just from a little mistake. The 4 of Hearn could make one, the 26 of Poole, or Beckner could make another one. It's just, this track is so treacherous, and if you just get off that pavement into whether it's gravel or grass, the car becomes like it's on an ice rink. As now we see that is David Weishart looking to get past the 71, no, the 17 of Sturgill. So he's back up to 15th after that, and he was facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, I was going to say, facing the wrong direction after turn 5 on lap 1. Weishart's done a great job to get this car back in a solid position, and he really didn't even get damage from that incident, which I think he's also fortunate with. Tires might have been a little bit scuffed up as he gets a little bit sideways coming out of the carousel. But that car is still looking pretty good, really solid. Started in 8th, is back up to 15th. This is still a really good climb regardless. And I'm sure this is not going to be done yet. That being said, he's got 8 seconds up the road to Cedric Hunter, who's just coming out of Canada corner as Weishart was heading towards there.
It's only an uphill climb from here for the 33 of Weishart, as looks to continue to make up ground and potentially get a top 10 finish, as tuning into the No Kid Hungry 215. The link to donate is in the chat for YouTube and Twitch. Currently, you see on the bottom of your screen there the goal of $600. We're at 420, actually 433.50. We just got a recent donation, so you can donate PayPal, credit card, anything to help out those in need for childhood hunger, trying to solve that, fix that, make sure it's eradicated. You can see up front James Scioli and Michael Kern, 1 second separating those two guys. They are running the No Kid Hungry paint scheme, so good to see those guys having solid runs, especially the 24 of Kern looking for his first win of the season. We'd also like to give a big thanks to Simrat Market for their coverage tonight and the replay we've seen a couple of times throughout the night. The race fans, be sure to visit simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use, help you stay more focused on the racetrack, just like the 7 and the 24. They've been driving away from the competition, Finian.
Yeah, these guys have really been eking out a solid lead. I thought Jake Nichols would have been, at least managing the gap, if not maybe slightly reeling them in. But he's kind of fallen off from these two. So James Kelly last lap through 2:11.9. Michael Curran 2:11.6 for him. Jake Nichols actually ran just a little bit faster, but he's now finally starting to reel them back in. But he's got 4.7 seconds up to Michael Curran. That's not going to be easy to make up. So he's got some work to do. Ricky Springer 2 seconds back from Jake Nichols in 4th place. Frankie Bros is still hanging out in the top 5, but that might not be for long. Ryan Hart's trying to chase him down.
I'll say Hart's actually took over 5th momentarily from Barroso, but he actually lost that position. But these two still going at it for that top 5 spot, and it's the corner exits right there that you just saw from the in-car of the 3 of Hart's. You get off that pavement just a little bit. Oh, Douglas Dubing having an issue.
This is out of the carousel, slow through there. Ooh, caught the, looks like he caught the curbing and it's maybe some grass and just threw the balance off the car and went sideways.
Like, it looked like it was the beginning of the curbing and it just upset the car and around she went. So the 71 having a blunder there, falls back to 19th, but nonetheless still going. And again, for those just tuning in, there are no yellows for this road course event, so no stage break, no caution for incident, none of that. So if you get yourself in a pickle, you're kind of screwed, but it has been done before where drivers can come back from their mistakes. Greg Mitchell had an incident lap 1. He's already back inside the top 10. David Weishart, he was facing the wrong direction, and he was as low as 30th. We got another blunder here.
The wrong direction might have been Seth Knoll here.
Well, as soon as our very own Kyle Heyer joined, we have another little shindig going down here.
Yeah, hi guys. Sorry about being a little bit late for one of my favorite races, Road America. Already some trouble here, lap number 12. I'm sure it's been exciting, guys. Happy to get here at least now.
Yeah, I was going to say, after your flight's been delayed.
Yeah, whole thing. The world's on fire. Chicago's covered in smoke, and the air index is horrible. I don't think I can leave my house. So
I heard there was another air quality warning. I don't think I've seen it in New York yet. I'll see tomorrow that changes. Oh, you see, Race Slate breaking into turn 8, a little bit of a wiggle for him. But we'll give a quick recap for Kyle Heyer joining us back. So we got James Scully leading this race, Michael Curran following and closing behind in 2nd by a second, and is closing ever so slightly on him. Jake Nichols chasing them down in 3rd, a couple seconds in behind. Ricky Springer in 4th in pursuit of him. And Reinhardt has actually just finally gotten around Frankie Barroso again. So Frankie Barroso now relegated back to 6th place.
Yeah, very interesting race here. Kyle has kind of expected the 7 to pull away just a little bit more from Curran, but the lead was up to 2 seconds. It's now back to just above a second, but 24 cars definitely got something for the 7.
yeah, one of the things that we noticed the last time we road raced these cars, guys, is how little the tires wore out over the course of a run. What's the fall-off been like so far? I imagine probably not a whole lot.
Looks like it's been just about smooth. Travis Beckman was a little bit slow on that lap. We'll go to the leaders who've been a little bit more consistent. So about a little under a second of fall off for these guys.
Yeah, it's not really a whole lot, all things considered, when you're talking about a 4-mile course. So the only thing you don't want to do is be pushing the braking zones too much and locking up. But we got Seth Knoll making a pass back on the number 8 as they continue to battle here for position. And Rafe Slate there in the number 8 going down a spot.
Close to slamming the one of Seth Knoll again. He's going to try and drive away from him. But down this long backstretch here, or one of the long backstretches, not going to be much the one getting away, as that's going to provide Slate some draft and could send it here down into turn 5, which has been a trouble zone. It was a trouble zone on lap 1.
Yeah, turn 1's a trouble zone. Really, all the heavy braking zones are turn 1, 5, and 12 at Canada Corner. You can throw 8 in there as well. All challenging corners as we now jump to a battle with the 26 of JT Poole. And he's back in the field a little bit further than I maybe thought he would be in 7th, just over Cameron Hearn. I thought he'd be a little bit further up the order, but maybe the road racing prowess not quite where I expected it to be.
Yeah, some of these guys struggle a little bit early on, I think, just to get up to speed, and the pack got separated, especially after the big incident in turn number 5, where a few cars went around, not a huge amount of contact, just a couple cars going around, enough to kind of shake everyone up just a little bit and separate out the leaders, especially the top 6, as JT Poole gets a little bit slow on the braking. Cameron Hearn trying to come back on him in that 4 machine here, as we're somewhat closing in on pit stops here, and I think a couple laps time. We're going to be about halfway in 2 to 3 laps.
Yeah, I talked to Seth Knoll about fuel and said that anytime around lap 17, 18, 19 would be good enough to go for pitting. As long as you keep the car on the track, you should be able to make pit stops. But you can stretch it on fuel if you want to. I'm not sure how that's going to help in any way when this race has no guaranteed caution at all. But who knows? Some people have different strategies in mind, and I'm really interested in how the 7 and the 24 both get on and off of pit road.
Something to consider as Seth Knoll continues to track away from Rafe Slade here. 20 laps to go, but still a long, long ways left in this race.
Let's take a look at Jeremy Miller, who's been caught up in some incidents further down the order. Started in 25th, moved up a couple spots, and then lost some after making contact with Douglas Newbegin. Actually, Newbegin's gone up to 19, so he's gone back ahead of the 30 of Miller. There is Newbegin just up the road. And also just saw something with Cameron Hearn, I think just got shuffled out of position. Taking a look at your Simrad market replay into turn 5. Wow, trying to go the long way around in turn 5.
Yeah, just got squeezed out there just a little bit too late on the brakes and kind of bailed to the outside. That was kind of just an escape maneuver there, Finian, but didn't quite work, and he got shuffled out.
And turn 5 is so easy to try to, you're so tempted to try to outbrake your competitor, and then you just get caught behind the braking, and you have to use that access road to slow yourself down. So for Hearn, he'll continue on, but will lose 2 spots. As Connor Horn's still out there. Connor Horn on a controller, as you can tell by the way the wheel is jerking around, trying to make it around.
He's still he's just trying to gain position. He gained a position within the first 2 laps. The 66 of Brandon 6 had an issue going through the kink, and it forced it. Well, he called it quits after that, but yeah, look at the IndyCar of how Horn is trying to navigate his way around Road America with the controller.
Now, I've been there before. I've run on a controller, and there are some cars that you can get away with that with, but this is not one of them. The steering on these cars is too sharp, so Connor probably not having a blast right now, but doing the best he can given the situation.
Yeah, definitely doing the best. I think he's out there. He's trying to pass Chris Rabel and Skylar Shackelford, who are both, I think, 1 lap ahead of him. So he's just going to continue on. I think he's probably going to park it after that. Everyone else is still running up ahead of him by quite a bit. But props to him for trying to pull this off. It takes a lot of talent to control these things, and I'm still amazed that there are people here that drive on a controller with these cars. Look back up for the lead. Michael Kerr now actually starting to lose a little bit of time from James Scioli, and I'm just wondering when does Jake Nichols, actually speaking of Jake Nichols, he's under attack.
Yeah, Ricky Springer has slowly been reeling in the 73 of Nichols as right on board at 51. They're actually going to catch some lap traffic here, but yeah, the 724 still gapping third on back, but Springer definitely wants to talk with us after the race. He wants that podium spot, Kyle.
Yeah, he wants it bad. He's pressuring Jake Nichols here, who again, all season long, he's been a bit disappointed in running runner-up and getting bumped out of third. He's not going to want to do as they work by some lap traffic through the 64 of Ed Robertson, but Springer's really keeping the pressure on him right now.
Yeah, Springer keeping him honest here, and actually their gap has Springer's fallen off. Not Springer, sorry. Nichols has fallen off quite a bit from Curran and Scioli. He was last we looked at, he was around 4 and 5 seconds back. He's now 7 seconds back from the leader. So the 7 of Scioli and the 24 of Curran have checked out. It's effectively between those two here as we're closing up on halfway.
Indeed, and closing in on the only pit stop of the race. So going to want to time out when to pull off and how they're going to execute it. As we look a little further back, JT Poole got around Travis Beckner for 7th, but for how much longer? Is Beckner still all over the bumper of Poole, heading into oh my goodness, he is sideways coming out of that corner.
Yeah, the 26 was wobbling on the brakes too quite a bit. He was pushing the braking here. One of the things that helps these new next-gen cars is you've got independent rear suspension and much larger brakes, and with that, a larger tire width as well. So you've got more grip under braking than you used to have, which means it snaps a whole lot quicker when you lose that grip.
Yeah, the thing is, I think a lot of guys have been finding that limit a little bit too often because you've seen so many guys try to just push it just that much more, and unfortunately they were already at the limit and they go off the track or end up bumping into their competitor by out-braking themselves. But looks like Poole's going to break away by just a little bit. The gap now 3 to 4 tenths of a second between these two as that battle fizzles out. Go back up to Jake Nichols and Ricky Springer, one of the closer battles on the track still.
As Nichols continues to fend off the 51 of Springer as they were going through a little straightaway into turn 6, and there is Dwayne Culberson off and mowing the grass.
Oh, Jake Nichols
went off. Nichols was distracted by the grass being mowed, decided to mow some himself, but he lost the position doing that.
Yeah, just got in his own head here.
Yeah, I think he was trying to figure out where Culberson was going and he missed his turning point.
It's such an easy corner to do because you're coming up over a crest. It's blind. The car doesn't want to slow down. It's probably one of the most deceiving corners on the entire racetrack, and it's not hard to go off there. And even for a champion like Jake Nichols, it's easy.
I was going to say, out of all the corners on this track, I think that's probably my most difficult corner is turn 6 because, like you mentioned, it's a blind corner going up over a hill, so it's very easy to make a mistake, especially if you got something distracting with you. And I've had that pretty much a similar situation where there's a lap car, a slow car, and it just throws you off your braking point and you go off the track. So Nichols will hang on, but will lose the spot. Springer now in 3rd place by about 4.5 seconds, so he's going to be up the road by a decent margin. Try to set his sights on see if he can make some sort of dent into this lead between the 7 and the 24.
Yeah, I'm not sure if undercutting on pit road will be a method for Springer, Nichols, Hartz, any of these guys to get up to the 7 and the 24, but I'm going to say the corner that I would have the most issue with, or one that would just come out of nowhere, is the kink in turn 11, because that's what we saw happen to Brandon 6. It caught him off guard a little bit. Oh, one who continues to blink in and out. Caught him off guard and slid up into the wall and ended his day, as Slate going to try and get around the 1 of Knoll. Going to try to send it in here on the last corner, but not going to be enough, but very close to the bumper, Kyle.
Yeah, he's really pushing the issue for this position, keeping him honest, and he had Seth Knoll going defensive into turn 14. It's such an easy corner to set up for the exit on the front straight, but Rafe didn't quite do that just right, as we do have some drivers hitting pit lane. Cameron Hearn, Greg Mitchell, and a handful of others have made their trek down pit road.
Interesting stuff. So we're going to see guys here, and they're going to have the freshest rubber getting back out onto the track. So, and I think this is going to open Pandora's box, essentially. Whoa, Connor Horn is wiggling his way down the front straightaway.
Whoa, guys, slide, turn 5. It's JT Poole. He was out of control. He's still out of control in front of Travis Beckner. That was wild, and here comes the 28 up the inside.
But when Beckner going to throw it back in turn 6, he's not going to make the corner. He's going to go off. There he goes.
Oh, he did the same thing Jake Nichols did.
I knew that was coming because I can tell there's a certain point you have to brake, and he missed that by quite a bit. There's JT Poole going for a wild ride.
Yeah, he just completely out of control on the binders. He had Travis in the rearview mirror, and then Travis had him in his rearview and got spooked into turn 6.
Took a ride on board with Beckner and see the 26 carry his back end out here. This is under braking, and it's so easy for the back end to swing around, especially as he caught some grass.
And I think Poole just gives him the spot here. He's like, all right, I'm not going to risk going door to door through the tight turn 6, and Beckner caught off guard by it, almost runs the same tire tracks as Jake Nichols.
And James Scioli hits pit lane. We'll head up down and slow down to 45 miles an hour.
Did he actually? Hang on, I want to check something because it almost looked like Michael Curran got past him. This guy's heading down the Canada corner right before he came to pit lane, just went off, and that allowed Curran to take the lead right here.
Sure did.
That's going to be huge for the 7's pit time and for Michael Curran's pit time as well. Kyle, if you're the 24, do you pit coming in this lap by?
Well, now the overcut strategy is if you can find a tire advantage late in the run, and we are seeing some fall off. You guys mentioned about a second, and that appears to be what it is. 2:11.8 for Curran last time by. 2:10.7 is his best. So maybe there's something to be said there. He was only trailing the 7 or only ahead of the 7 by a couple tenths of a second. So maybe there's some advantage there, but I don't know. I'd be pitting with the 7 and keep him in sight.
Yeah, I think the best thing for Curran is not to stretch this longer than he really needs to, especially because even though Scioli made that mistake, he came out pretty much right in behind him coming into pit lane. So if Scioli can get those tires working quickly, he can take the lead back away from this 24. That being said, Curran will have just slightly fresher rubber to work with. Might have the chance of an attack, though, but even for Curran, too, this lap is also still important to make sure he doesn't lose a lot of time.
Indeed, you don't want to mess up right here as he's coming out of the carousel, now going to head into the kink. This one's going to be an interesting corner there and goes through just fine.
Ray Slade and Seth Nola just battling for position.
They cannot get away from each other.
I've been describing a bunch of things this week as magnetic. I've begun to really attach myself to that phrase, and these two have just been attracting each other all night long, no matter how long this race goes on for. As we hit about 15 laps to go next time by, guys, this race still a little ways to go, but we're past halfway at this stage, and so you're just focusing on that pit stop and making that run to the end. It's about half and half of drivers that have hit pit lane and those that have not, as Curran dives for home.
Yeah, it's going to be really crucial for him. Make sure you break it down in time. Definitely got it well down. It's a very tricky pit lane to get to if you're trying to maximize the amount of time and brake right at the last second going uphill, and you can't quite see where the cones are, so you definitely have to practice that beforehand. Jake Nichols coming in behind him as well. JT Poole is currently running in third, about 4 seconds up the road from Travis Beckner, and I imagine we're going to see a lot of comers this time by. I don't think you're going to want to be on this rubber much more than you have to. There he comes. JT Poole coming on down. Travis Beckner also coming on down.
And Scioli is leaving 14 right now and heading up the hill. So where's Curran going to come out in comparison? His stop is still only about half done as Scioli heads down the front straightaway for the start-finish line. Curran's going to release, but I think the 7's going to beat him on by.
Oh, it's going to be close.
It's close, but he does beat him. Oh, not quite. He didn't. I thought he had momentum.
He didn't, but he's got the tires run up, that number 7. So here he comes at 24. Cole Tires out in the lead, trying to hold off through turn 2. Now turn 3. Here comes Scioli on the inside.
Curran going to let the 7 go by as he slides in front of Curran, and the 24th Michael Curran going to try and warm up the tires. This could be the battle for the win as they're heading down the long straightaway heading into turn 5.
Speeds climbing north of 160, 170 miles an hour. The 24 looks left. He looks right. Later on the brakes, he's wobbling. He dives to the outside to try to maybe cross the 7 over, but he misses the apex. Curran trying everything, but it didn't work that time. And he missed a gear. Something else went wrong.
Yeah, no, I think he was trying to. I think this entire thing was by mistake. I don't think he meant to go out there. Right on board again. I think caught the gravel that upset him. Just went to the right to make sure he made it, and then right here
he downshifted. Went from second to first.
Yeah, I wonder did he didn't blow it up.
It was almost like he was slowing down for a slowdown.
There might actually be a slowdown out there. I remember there being a note in the release notes about that area in particular, so they maybe have made that a slowdown in recent months. But either way, it's going to set him back about 1.5 seconds from James Scioli.
And I think Curran's going to be a little bit irritated with this because now he's effectively back at square one right before that sequence happened where he took the lead away from Scioli and them coming into pit lane. So he's got to make up all that time now with the slightly fresh rubber he's got, only 1 lap difference. But will Scioli be able to hang on? That's going to be the big question.
Yeah, Skylerly had that blunder before getting on the pit road, and then Curran had a blunder coming out of pit road. So it really could happen at any given moment here within the next 15 laps as they work their way uphill, coming to 14 to go. Still looking at drivers like Connor Okrezik and Seth Knoll, the pit. They're coming in this time by, and lap 19 is right around the number where Knoll said you could push it to, as they work their way on the pit road. Springer going to pass him. They're going to see, there's the 33 of David Weishart, 15th again. Very, very impressive race from Weishart, given the situation from lap 1.
Yeah, I'm doing as much as he can with what he's got at this stage, and this is a long racetrack. There's a lot of corners, and even though there's not a whole lot of laps, you have plenty of time to kind of undo your mistakes, and he's still trekking along, trying to undo the foibles of the early moments of this race. Is mid-pack, but maybe a couple more spots to gain as a few drivers still have yet to pit.
Yeah, I was going to say he got pushed back all the way to essentially 30th position, and now it's going to go from 15th to 14th here as he gets a great run on Rafe Slade as they race up the hill.
Yeah, both these guys just recently came out of pit road, so they're good to go. Don't have to worry about pit stops anymore. Up ahead of them, Bryce Senesac, Cedric Hunter still needs to pit. Someone else just came out the road.
Sorry, Hunter. Hot into turn 1. Here comes Rafe Slate to the corner, and Slate's off to the inside and into the wall.
And he wrecks into turn 2, trying to see if he can gas it up better than the 33. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, just got in here. Following the 33, Weishart slips right there, and Slate sees the opportunity, gets back to throttle a little bit earlier, but has to turn extra to avoid the 33, but then catches that tire wall, which then noses him into the concrete. Not catastrophic impact, but not a light one either.
So you come back out in 13th place. Actually didn't really lose a whole lot. David Weishart now up to 12th after the last few minutes. Some more drivers coming in to pit lane. Bryce Senesac, man, up on 20 laps on these tires and fuel. The last driver actually will have to come down to pit lane.
Yeah, interesting how that go. And he really doesn't have to come in and take tires. I mean, it would benefit him if he took tires, but you know, the tire wear not that big of a concern. Well, there's a second separate, and that's a car facing the wrong direction. It's Jordan Martin.
Yeah, it's not been a good day for Jordan Martin so far. Here's a look, and just already wobbling. That car was never stable. And final approach to turn 12 was a little off the flight path there, Finian.
At least he kept it off the wall. Definitely one of the better ways to spin out on that corner other than going straight on into the barrier. You've got Travis Beckner in behind them. Beckner, though, in 10th place. And some exchanges for position. Oh, that's Bryce Senesac coming out of pit lane. Cameron Hearn up to 7th place, trying to chase down Ryan Hartz, running in 6th. Actually, Hartz lost out to Barroso by quite a bit. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, very interesting to see what might have happened there. Their pit times were about this. Well, Hartz had a quicker pit stop too, and pit lane time. So I'm really, he must have had a blunder in one of these corners. But Barroso trying to capitalize on that, running 5th, headed into this race, 21st in points. So if he wins either tonight or the next 2 weeks of Indianapolis or Talladega, he'd be locked into the postseason. So Barroso trying to get some momentum on his side at the right time.
Whoa. Ryan Hart's out in the gravel. What is going on with the 3? He's coming to a stop?
Yep, rolling to a stop, and it looked like
more trouble. Something happened here.
Yeah, turn 3. Just locked up and went off the course.
And there's more of this story here. Comes onto the track.
Oh,
wow.
My goodness.
Hit Cosman on his shoe. Cameron Hearn completely doored him. And that's why I was wondering why he was slow on the side. I think it knocked the steering out of alignment.
And this is probably just a retirement down here at 5, I'd imagine. You can see the steering off by quite a bit, Finney. And that's a frustrating way to go out. That was a big hit there, too.
So just like that, Ryan Hart's having a solid day around 5th or 6th place. He's out of it. Cameron Hearn looks like he'll continue on. I guess the big question for him is if that engine's going to start overheating. That's a decent hit to the nose of his car. And I'm sure Greg Mitchell knows something about that because he's also had damage to the nose of that car since lap 1.
Oh, and that is Travis Beckner right behind Cameron Hearn, so it's probably not going to be too long.
Oh, there goes! Arshy blows.
Oh, man. We heard that, and it was a big one.
And unfortunately, he's going to be... At least if he was coming out of the final quarter, might have had a chance to get to pit lane, but he's going to have to park it and get towed.
Yeah, just vent up all the radiator and let all the fluid out, and then pow.
Yeah, and this is really extra unfortunate because we were talking about how...
Sorry for any more trouble for Cedric Hunter in the kink this time. The 07 has found his way into the wall. And watch this. He's just going to drive in here and exit and the classic Road America crash, guys.
Yeah, right there. And we saw Brandon Six struggle with that. He was the first retirement of this race due to a similar issue, just running just that much wide out of the kink, caught the grass and went into the wall, though Cedric Hunter will be able to limp that car around. Ooh.
Oh.
Is he going to come to pit lane to fix it? No, he'll actually stay out.
The car wanted to come to pit lane. Cedric Hunter did not.
Car begging to be fixed. He does not want to. GT pull up ahead, racing with Michael Sturgill. So what I was saying about Cameron Hearn, though, Cameron Hearn is 28th in points after missing last week at Atlanta. So he needed a good finish to get himself back into the top 20 because he has that one win, but this is just going to put him further out, if anything. So I think his hopes might really be done unless he has a fantastic next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that being the Indianapolis Oval and Talladega, which anyone could have a good run there at Talladega, and it could happen, but he's just putting himself in a deeper hole heading into Indianapolis as Sturgill has JT Poole on the outside trying to outbrake him. Trying to pass on the outside through 5 and up into 6.
Side-by-side action here as they climb up to turn 6. We've seen this be a challenge tonight. Sturgill in there pretty hot. Poole tries to cross him over, but now you're kind of single file at least until turn 8.
Yeah, I think Poole was kind of hoping that a similar thing would happen to what happened between Poole and Beckner. I think he was hoping that he would just go flying off into the corner and he would get the spot again. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way this time.
Still trying to apply pressure to the 17 as they work their way through the carousel. Still trying to find a way to get around the 17 below. Going to tap him coming out of 10. Going to be interesting as they approach the kink here, Kyle.
Yeah, this is hard to follow through the kink here, too, because if you miss your turning point, you're going to end up in the dirt. And the 17 a little wide. Poole's got a great run here.
Oh, well, Sturgill give him the space just barely, and it's going to be JT Poole on the left side. Michael Sturgill on the right. Poole hard on the brace. See the car squirming around under the braking zone, and he's just going to make it on by as Bryce Senezak's off the track, and they're going to split him. Sturgill going to come back out and actually benefits from that.
How on earth did that happen? Senezak came out of the woods and surprised both the 26 and the 17. They're going to continue this fight off of turn 14. And uphill down the front stretch, but Sturgill, is he pulling off letting Poole by? He is.
That got a little wild for a moment, I'd say.
Yeah, I was going to take a look at it real quick. See what happened here.
Yeah, they just get down to Canada corner, and Sturgill goes on defense. Leaves Poole to the outside, who just drives to the outside of him. They just almost touch there and then come out of the corner and look out. One goes left, one goes right, and they split the difference.
Oh man, they almost collided with each other, meeting back on the racetrack because neither driver wanted to yield. I'm surprised Sturgill decided to let JT Poole on by. I guess that's not how he wanted to make the pass work. I don't think he got a slowdown, so I guess some sportsmanship there. I would have kept that spot. I think that was well earned.
That was all for position too, because Senezak was running in 11th at the time, and like I said, he just came out of the woods like Sasquatch and lost a few positions down to 13th now. And right behind them, don't count out Cedric Hunter. He's still looking to make up a few positions.
Cedric Hunter, again, we saw him go into the wall there. And he's recovered now, mostly.
Looking back up at the top of the order, Michael Curran still trying to chase down James Cole, and it looks like he's losing out on this run. He was 4/10 off last time through. Ooh, and Travis Beckner actually has ran into some issues here.
Oh my. Well, that's not going to help him at all as we take a look at the Simrat market replay. Canada's corner has been a trouble spot for all these guys tonight. Well, majority of them.
So one of the big challenges about this corner, especially in something like a stock car, is you're not going straight when you hit the brakes. And if you get all the way to the right and then you brake across the track, you can kind of brake in a straight line, but the track is still kinking back to the left. It's so easy to drop a tire on the left or just to get the car destabilized, as we saw a little while ago with Jordan Martin. It's just a tricky corner. While it's a right-hander on paper, it just doesn't actually drive like that in reality.
Looking further back at this battle, still somewhat smoldering. JT Poole, Michael Sturgill, Bryce Senizak, 11th, 12th, and 13th. One of the closer battles on the track ever. Actually, scratch that. This is one of the closer battles. Tyler Nichols, Douglas Newbigin. I haven't really talked about the 41. Newbigin has been talked about a little bit, although it's not been for the best of things. He's just been kind of caught up in some incidents, but here he is now drag racing the 41 down the front straightaway.
Well, good battle here as Newbigin clears Tyler Nichols. For the moment, the 41 going to tuck in line, and they're going to roll off into turn 1. Oh, backed off quite a bit. Whoa, and the 71 a little squirrely there.
Just carrying a little bit of yaw through turn 1. That's all good. Nice controlled slide. Just will burn up those rear tires if you do it a bit too much.
I think he's trying to see if he can try to catch up to Seth Knoll, who's 11 seconds up the road. There is Seth Knoll.
So that's a long amount of time to make up the 9 laps. Hey, I've seen crazier things happen.
I mean, I guess he might as well try something, right? Otherwise, just, it's going to be a boring 9 laps to the end for him. So, going to try to hang it out there and see if he can make up at least one spot, break inside the top 15. But we're talking with the leaders a few moments ago, and Skyley's been putting in some really good laps in the second run. Curran's been actually falling off the pace quite a bit.
Yeah, I think it's that initial lap coming out of pit road where lock up the brakes, and then not to mention downshifting. Not sure if that was a time penalty or something to give back, or if he just missed shift, but not a good sequence of events coming out of pit road for Curran, and ultimately losing ground to the 7 of Scioli, doing just that in the No Kid Hungry number 7 and the No Kid Hungry number 24. Both those cars running 1 and 2 in the No Kid Hungry 215, and you can donate in the YouTube or Twitch chat. It's pinned in the Twitch chat, YouTube chat. It is down there. We're at $433.50 of $600 donated on the bottom of the screen there, and all the proceeds go to prevent child hunger and to eradicate it.
All for a good cause. And for James Scioli, he's got 2 wins, which is the same amount as Jake Nichols, but Jake has got 9 top 5s and 9 top 10s. Scioli only has 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s, so the consistency hasn't really been championship worthy, but the wins number has been. So when we get down to push versus shove, guys, I'm going to root for the Jake Nichols machine, not because of the number of wins, but because when he hasn't won, he's been consistent. That's something that Scioli's going to have to work on, despite a 3rd win if he could hold everyone off tonight.
Yeah, so the thing, though, is that it really comes down, with the way this championship format is, it does come down to one race. So, in a way, it's good to be consistent, but that being said, consistency is not going to win you the championship at the end of the day, at least with this format. So, Scioli is going to, if things go well, he'll get his 3rd win here, unless something catastrophic happens. Or Curran can find some extra pace in that 24, but he's been dropping back ever so slightly, and it almost looks like he's kind of dialed it back a little bit, I think, realizing might not have the shot to win, but still has a shot at some decent points finishing in 2nd.
Yeah, don't want to mess up a good run going. Try to push the issue to catch the leader, and then you end up spinning out. Could be off into the woods like Senizak over in Canada's corner, but yeah, just trying to maintain the 2nd place run going. Trying to look through here. David Weishart's up to 8th after literally, Kyle, he was facing the wrong direction in coming out of turn 5, and the whole field passed him. Went from 30th and has now made an impressive climb up to 8th. Got about 4 seconds between himself and Connor O'Kresick as the next position on track.
Minimizing your bad days is often a good way to have good days.
Speaking of bad days,
well, sometimes you're on the road looking at the scenery, and sometimes you're in the scenery looking at the road. And Beckner was looking at the road there a minute ago.
Oh, and just kept it off the tire bearers.
Well, like they say in South Park, blame Canada.
I'm blaming Canada for the smoke in the sky, and I think some of it's gravel dust from Beckner and Jordan Martin.
Yeah, Beckner's
Floating
still,
all the way over here to Chicago.
despite the amount of tracks that Beckner's had, he's still in the top 10. And I also want to mention, dude, just look at the gaps on the left-hand side of the screen. Beckner is a minute 24 back and still in 10th place. And the entire top 7 is spread out over a minute.
Yeah, quite a bit of ways to go. You know, if you could get 11 seconds a lap, that'd be great for the 28. But I'm not sure how that's. I'm not sure how that's gonna work.
You get 11 seconds a lap if someone stops for 11 seconds. That's
I was gonna say
pretty much how you do that.
you're gonna need a hypercar probably to come over. get in a Cadillac, or actually no, get in the Toyota. Get in the Toyota hypercar.
Or maybe the Porsche, or maybe not because it got penalized. Rip.
At least congrats for BMW for getting one.
I suppose.
At least they didn't cheat. Allegedly.
You guys see that big MX-5 crash the other day too? By the way, the one that broke the driver's 5 ribs.
Oh yeah, I saw that. There were 2 pretty big wrecks there.
Yeah, I know the driver that broke his ribs. That's my buddy Woody Hyman. And poor Woody, he's on like chassis number like 6 in the last 2 seasons. So
wow,
it's tough out there.
Yeah, apparently.
Chassis 6 and more ribs than almost as many ribs as chassis.
I was gonna say.
They told us in the GR Cup drivers meeting that they want to be the standard for one make racing, and we haven't ridden off. Well, okay, we rode off 1 car, but
That's not bad. How many rounds has there been so far?
3 rounds, 6 races.
I mean, I would say that's pretty good.
Yeah, better than the MX-5 record so far.
I was gonna say they rode off probably quite a few from Watkins alone.
Yeah. Anyway, we work our way now towards 7 and then 6 laps to go, and now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, and the mistakes now you're not going to have enough time to recover from as Sturgill works by the 1 lap down car of Jordan Martin.
Yeah, and David Weiser might have a chance of getting another spot. Connor Kresick last lap 2:13.1. Weiser 2:11.8.
Yeah, he closed second between the last time we checked in on the 33. We're closing in a bit more.
Fastest car in the top 5 is Ricky Springer. Last time by, we're in a 2:11.1.
Got really close to the dirt on the left-hand side. It was on the white line under braking.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
A bit surprised he is pushing this hard. I guess he's trying to keep the gap to Jake Nichols because he's got 10 seconds up to Michael Curran, so he's definitely not going to close that gap down, but Jake Nichols has the shot of catching back up to the 51.
Yeah, it's been a subpar. Well, been an okay day for Jake Nichols.
I mean, if Jake Nichols doesn't finish second, it's a subpar day.
What a catastrophic afternoon for Jake Nichols. P4.
It's like Lewis Hamilton. He's like the Lewis Hamilton of the series. If he doesn't finish on the podium, it's a catastrophic day.
That would tie his worst finish of the season. So
that's really saying something.
Battles have mostly fizzled. There's a couple that are still kind of glowing embers. This is one of them, Michael Sturgill and Bryce Senesac for 12th place.
Yeah, Sturgill's been pretty much around 12th place for most of the day. He climbed up pretty solidly. He's actually, I think, the biggest mover of the race. Started in 28th, moved up pretty quickly into the mid-teens.
Garrett Grant just had an incident in the kink fitting, if you want to go back about 40 seconds or so. And this one lost pretty early. Got to go back a little further. Here we go.
There he is. Whoa, wow, that, on the entry. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, just kind of walked away on him. That's pretty surprising. I haven't seen stock cars do that. Usually they're on the understeer side, but
I think he might have thrown it in too hard. I think got on the brakes, and then I think the front end just pivoted. Act as a pivot. It's my take on it.
Well, that was definitely a hot moment for the 5 as we head towards 5 to go. So, race fans, be sure to check out Rick's Hot Sauce for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. You can try the Waxahachie Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize. That's the highest finishing rookie in points.
taking a look at the Rick's Hot Sauce machine. I'm sure for Ed Robinson, probably a day to forget. He's 2 laps down, running in 24th. One of the last drivers running on the racetrack at the moment.
Yeah, it's a tough day for him, but these road course races, there's not a ton of them, and so it doesn't really justify putting in a ton of effort to master them, so they'll just shake this one off and move on to next week.
Here we go. Here's a battle on our hands. Battle for 12th. Bryce Senizak and Michael Sturgill. Caught back up quite a bit.
Garrett Grant is off again at turn 8, but he's back straight, so just a slow, awkward one that time.
I'm sure for Garrett Grant also throw him into the list of days to forget.
You throw a handful or two of these guys in days to forget category.
Yeah, the thing about road courses is that most times, if you crash, it's kind of on you, and that kind of stings a little extra, right? Because it's unforced errors, right? We head to Talladega in a couple of weeks' time, you get wrecked, that's the expectation. But you come in here and all you're trying to do is keep it on the road. Seems simple enough, but a lot of things are easier said than done.
Yeah, it really is, especially if there are quite a few. I mean, you do get the occasional a car spins in front of you, but usually those are few and far between because everyone's spread out all completely across this racetrack. So after a certain point, then it comes down to you just kind of hot lapping by yourself and just got to keep out of the walls, which is easier said than done with these things. Whoa, speaking of which,
there.
Michael Sturgill hanging it all out there.
That's music to the ears of Senizak, and now he's licking his chops going uphill, coming across the stripe to take his 5 laps to go. Still trying to move into 12th. This is what the position is for. Heading into turn 1. 09 closing in bit by bit, Kyle.
Keeping the pressure on him here, and now he's got Sturgill looking in the rear view, and that can force a mistake as well. So this battle continues to glow. Who's going to throw the gasoline on the fire? Is it the 09 or the 17? Defense or offense? Let's see what starts as we head down to 5.
Well, see, Sturgill got a decent run out of that corner. He's been actually able to hold off Senizak pretty well, especially in the exit. Senizak seems to make up quite a bit on the entry. So Sturgill's been able to win out in that respect, but Senizak gets close enough, might be able to make a dive here, especially if he's feeling desperate enough in these closing laps.
Also, Kyle, I would be the one to add gasoline to the fire. I love big fires. And Cedric Hunter, he had a moment coming out of turn 5, almost got into the gravel trap, but keeps it going. I think he lost a position there to Seth Knoll.
Bit of a pyromaniac there, Hunter?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, he was just getting pressured, I think, by the one of Knoll and just overcooked it just a little bit, but minor error, and that's what they paved the outside of 5 for.
Yeah, I'm sure some Connor Horn would have liked if they paved the outside of 1, at least in this version of the track, because he had a little bit of an excursion there after making contact with Douglas Newbigin, speaking of which he was right in behind, 17 seconds behind Cedric Hunter.
Yeah, one of the things I was surprised about when they repaved this track just a couple of months ago is they left all the curbing and runoff as is. I thought that they would take the opportunity to redo it and fix some of this old crappy asphalt curbing, but they didn't, and actually they doubled down and added a couple feet worth of new curb with that asphalt method, which is awful. So not sure exactly why they did that, but the new track didn't really change a whole lot, just some new pavement to smooth out the racing surface, and didn't really change the fundamental character all that much.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Or if it is broken, just double down.
I mean, this is one of those few tracks, right, that really has not changed much since its original, from its original shape, I should say.
Yeah, one of the very few, actually, in the world that hasn't had some kind of major change to the layout. I thought Mid-Ohio was one of those as well, but it is not. Mid-Ohio had another chicane in the Thunder Valley area just after turn 9. Watkins Glen's changed a handful of times as these two continue to go at it.
Senizak keeps getting so close, but not exactly close enough to make a move, and I'm sure he's getting going to get frustrated by the white flag.
Well, you know, they don't call it Mid-Ohio for nothing.
Wow.
But I'm trying to think of some other tracks. Definitely Mosport.
Mosport has changed.
Has it?
Yeah. The original Moss corner was a hairpin, and it was changed to have 2 distinct corners.
What about Montreal?
Montreal, That's a good question.
It has changed. That has changed a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a couple. I think particularly that complex in turns 1 and 2.
Of course, we know Laguna Seca has changed. Sonoma has changed many times. So there's just really not that many in the U.S. at least. And even in Europe and beyond.
Coda.
Yeah. You got me there.
You know.
I guess you could argue the Indianapolis Oval.
Well, yeah.
Ovals probably don't count.
No.
Well, you know what? I'm going to throw in Pocono.
but even the ovals have changed too, because banking aside with the safer barrier, you can argue that's changed quite a bit.
Yeah. James Scioli took 3 laps to go a while ago. He's heading back to 2 laps ago. He's in the kink right now, but this battle rages on. Slayton Beckner for 9th.
And Beckner going to look to the left-hand side, trying to see if he can get the outside lane through turn 1, but Slate's going to cover him off. That being said, I don't know how much more in the tank Slate's got, at least with his tires.
For Beckner as well as, and down into turn 3, Beckner going to try and get a good run through here to set him up on this long straightaway. He's got a nice run. He's going to be on the right side of Slate here, coming down the one of the straightaways. Kyle Hendon, turn 5.
Down into 5 in the JT Pool machine, looking on from 11th place as these two run door to door. It's going to get close here. Slate deep on the brakes to defend. And Beckner going to try the crossover here into turn 6. Here he comes. Great move there by the 28.
They're going to be successful with an actual clear the 8. The Slate tried the crossover in 6. Couldn't quite get there, but it's all over the back of that rear bumper.
I was afraid Beckner was going to overdrive the corner again, but to no avail as he tries to drive away now from Slate. JT Pool now looking to get closer on this mix as Slate not going away just yet.
No, he's still keeping the pressure on as they head into the carousel here. To the inside, he's got him side by side for position. Slate and Beckner for 9th place, and Slate might clear him if he can just pull ahead, throttle up, but Beckner denies him, but almost clear. Now he is as he slots ahead of the 28 once again. Great battle here for 9th, inside 2 laps to go.
I'm really surprised Beckner did not cover that inside off before they entered there. I think he just thought that Slate was not going to make the move, and he was proven wrong. He's building up a run, though, out of the kink to Canada corner. Is not close enough in time. But as I mentioned, though, JT Pool waiting in the wings. He's called up a second since his battle engaged. So he's definitely going to be a factor. She was going to be a factor, and how did these guys slow out of Canada corner as they both have to slow down to get around him.
Yeah, he was off. He was off at Canada corner pretty big, and JT Pool almost hit the rear bumper of the 84 here, but they come to pick up 2 laps to go. As Slate runs wide, it's going to open the door again for Beckner. He chases him to the inside.
Oh, Beckner almost goes into the grass there as they go up through the hill. Beckner gets a great run out of the corner. Might be able to beat Slate to turn 1. He's going to try to clear him. There he is.
Oh, barely cleared him, and now Slate's going to try and set it in, going into turn 1. Door to door, heading in. It's going to be tight.
Too hot. Here. They touch. The 28's off. And he spins it. He almost hits the 26. He slams the wall. Did he get hit by Yoneshiwu as well?
I think he did.
Yeah, the 8 just got in there really hot. Too hot, guys, and pushed the 28 off, and Beckner just had no recourse here.
Yeah, right there. There's the tap. Beckner off into the gravel, gets sideways, and then bang, gets turned around by Cosmin Yoneshiwu.
And now JT Pool's knocking on the door of Ray Slate as well, as the leader is on his final lap.
Scully with the white flag. JT Pool here still has a lap and a half to try to work on Ray Slate, see if he can get up into 9th.
Still a good position, though, as Pool not giving up just yet. Looked a little wide there through that bit, but he's definitely going to apply some pressure to the 8 of Slate for this spot. Oh, my goodness. This carousel might be interesting.
It was interesting last lap with 2 different drivers. We'll see if it is interesting again. JT Pool saw all that happen up ahead of him and is closing this gap, and they still have about 6 miles of racing left to go. A lot of opportunity for JT to shuffle on by.
I mean, he has not a whole lot of time to work with, but just enough time to trying to make something happen. As he goes a little bit wide in the kink.
Here they come into Canada's corner. It's been a tricky spot for some of these guys tonight. Slate and Poole going through there. Poole with a little bit of a better run all over the bumper of Slate as they're coming up on the last couple of corners.
Yeah, just a really good drive out of turn 12 for JT Poole. He's going to look to the left now and hopefully pin Rafe on the inside for the braking zone. That will set him up for the crossover, but turned in too early. Turned in too early and killed that run, Finian.
Yeah, and killed him. But you see him use out of gear completely too, so had to get back on the power and try to chase him back down here, but not too far behind these guys. James Skiley working his way into Canada corner now. You can see Michael Curran in the background unfortunately fell off. He had such a good opportunity earlier on under those green flag pit stops to try to take the lead away from the 7, but unfortunately just wasn't quite enough. James Skiley went back out of the lead, expanded the gap, and as he comes out of the final corner, no drama for the number 7 of James Skiley as he will come up flying over the hill and will take home and will actually break the tie between himself and Jake Nichols. Win number 3 of the season for James Scioli.
Well done for James Scioli. And just, every time you go to a road course, you have to circle that number 7. But Michael Curran put in good effort today, 2nd place for the 24. And in his fight for the playoff picture, that's going to be a good day for him.
He will. We've still got this battle going on for 9th place, and it is far from over. Ray Slate trying to hold off a charging JT Poole. And now does JT Poole start to use the chrome horns?
Oh, man,
he might send it in right here. Gonna get very tight. This carousel is gonna be one that you better hold on to your hats, folks. This is gonna be a wild ride.
Hey, you're just so grip limited here. Watch the 26 throttle up. He tried to get close to the 8. He's only he's gonna hit him. He knocked him out of the way.
Up a run.
Oh boy, guys, that opens the door. Where's Rafe Slate? Can he return fire here in the closing quarter of lap? He's sideways.
Oh man!
Here comes Rafe Slate. They're approaching Canada's corner. I think that 8's going to have a little something for JT Poole coming through this last couple of corners.
Oh, deep on the brakes. Oh, he's so close, but he's not quite there, Finney. 2 corners left.
Yeah, 2 corners left. I'm curious if he's going to be trying to get close enough to give him the bumper or return the favor here. As long as JT Poole can maintain the distance, he might be clear of any wrath from Rafe Slate here. Here we go, final corner.
Oh, he's going to get in there. He's going to get in there, but he just misses. Wow.
Just misses, and JT Poole narrowly escapes. A bit of a wiggle there, I think, to show that he's glad that he escaped any retribution, as he will fight for a solid 9th place. That was only a battle for 9th.
I love road racing, and there's a great example why.
Oh, boy.
Well, he gave him the bumper run, and well, they had a little bit of that coming after his little shindig there with Travis Beckner, but very solid top 10 run for both those drivers nonetheless, and especially Greg Mitchell and David Weishart, both overcoming their wrecks from lap 1 in the same corner. 6th for Mitchell, 8th for Weishart.
And here's a look at your race results here from Road America. James Scioli picking up his 3rd win, now leads the season most. Michael Curran, though, that's a big points night for him. Ricky Springer in 3rd, and Jake Nichols ties his worst finish of the season, P4.
An absolutely horrible day for the 73 team. But Frankie Barroso, a great day for him, his first top 5 of the season.
Travis Beckner just went Mach 8 into turn number 5. Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
That was insane.
Greg Mitchell had a very quiet day, except for turn number 1, where he got a big dent to the front of his car. I'm actually surprised he ended up finishing in 6th, so good finish for the 2. Okrezik in 7th. Weishart rebounding back to exactly where he started in 8th place. Not a whole lot of change for him, but I'm sure he's glad after facing the completely opposite direction on lap number 1. JT Poole and Ray Slate rounding out your top 10 after that intense battle on the final lap.
And looking through the rest of the field outside the top 10, Beckner, Sturgill, Senesac, Cedric Hunter, and Seth Knoll, they definitely had quite a share of stories to tell, as a good bit of them came through Canada's corner and out of the woods. Newbigging, Tyler Nichols, Ben Pierce, Jeremy Miller, and Cosmin Yonishiwu round out the top 20.
And looking at the drivers that didn't have the best of days today, Jordan Martin struggled, Garrett Grant did as well, Culberson down to 23rd, and then Robertson, Hartz, Hearn, Horn, Shackelford, Rabel, and Ballard all out of this one, whether self-inflicted or multi-car. Then Brandon 6 down there in the 66 didn't even turn a lap at the beginning of this race. So,
no, he did turn a lap, but I think lap 3, I think it might have been.
Lap 2. Lap 2. He did not get through the kink well, and it costed him a solid run.
It's about the nicest way you can say that. Didn't get through the kink well.
Yeah, but one of the drivers, at least, that went through the kink pretty well is Ricky Springer. Ended up finishing in third. Ricky, unfortunately, weren't quite in the conversation after the first couple laps between the battle between Skyly and Curran, but still had a hard-fought battle with yourself and Jake Nichols for a solid third place.
Yeah, awesome. Saw some games. Chevy Camaro didn't get a whole lot of practice this week. I just got my computer back this afternoon when I got home from work, so it was a rush to get everything installed on it and get it ready for tonight's race. So we kind of went into it blind with no practice. And, you know, Scioli, I mean, he's an all-star at these road courses. So, you know, if I was going to have any shot at him, I needed at least a week of practice to get there.
Wow, you went into this race without any practice there, bold of you. I mean, I know you've been pretty good at these road courses, but that's pretty bold of you to do. Looking back at this race, do you feel like there's anything you could have done better, or do you feel like Skyly and Curran were just on another level today?
They were on another level. I mean, in the practice before the race and then in qualifying, I mean, there was nothing I could do. They were on their own stage up there, and you know, like I said, when we come to these road courses, Scioli's the pinnacle of who you're going to be racing against. So it was nice that I could at least get us up inside the top 5 and get us a top 3. I didn't think we'd do this well with no practice, but you know, SRP has a way, I guess, of working things out.
Well, it definitely worked out for you in the end. Solid third place finish for you, Ricky. Thanks for talking to us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Venya.
All right, moving on to our second place finisher. We got Michael Curran. And Michael, we saw you came out of the pits, guns blazing, ready to take the fight to James Scioli, but unfortunately, the battle didn't quite end up your way.
Yeah, it was. James gave me hope there during that kind of pit sequence. I was just trying to stay in striking distance in case he did make a mistake, and he opened the door, and then you know, he pitted right after that, and so I had one lap on track without him breathing down my neck, and I kind of overdrove that lap trying to make sure I stayed out in front. And then by the time we cycled through pit stops, he was right on my bumper and was able to get right back by me. And then I found out that there's a slowdown penalty, I guess, if you go too wide into that left-hander hairpin when I was right behind James, and so I kind of had to back out there, and that's kind of all James needed to sail off into the distance. So, but really happy with the result. It's a solid run. I'm sweating my rear end off, that's for sure. Throwing the car around, you're trying to use up every inch of the track to keep your momentum going and to carry as much speed down these long straights. So it's a real razor thin kind of margin of error. So, man, it was a fun race. Glad we came in P2 though. And just real quick, I do want to thank our sponsors and Physicus Motorsports, NAI, DeLeo Bram, Eat Sleep Race, Magyar Bank, Fame Construction, Flash Picks as well. My teammates, they've been a huge help on these road courses for me as well. So all in all, a great night tonight.
Well, Michael, thanks for talking to us. A solid second place finish. Didn't quite get the win tonight, but still some races left in the season.
Yeah, thanks guys, and thanks for all you guys do in the booth. Appreciate it.
All right, last but certainly not least, we have tonight's winner, win number 3 for James Scioli. And James, we saw it wasn't quite easy for you. You beat most of the field, but you had that 24 lurking in behind you for most of the night.
Yeah, Michael was doing a good job. We were running a pretty good pace there, and I didn't really know how I was going to stack up in the race. I knew I had pretty good qualifying pace, but I didn't really feel the most comfortable, especially under brakes and into the right-handers. The car just didn't really feel like it wanted to stop or turn. So Michael was lurking there, did a great job, and had me kind of on the back foot there for a little while, and I just started making too many mistakes, just overdriving corners. And then obviously I had the big one into Canada corner where I gave up the lead, and luckily I was just able to pit, put my head down, put in a good lap after I came out of the pits, and get him pretty early on. I think if he would have got the lead, it would have been a lot more difficult to make it back by with the dirty air and everything. So all in all, definitely not my prettiest race. Definitely glad to walk out of here with a win, but hats off to Michael. That was a good run there.
Yeah, and just curious, because obviously you and Michael set off from pretty much everyone else in the field. Were you, well, you can't really speak for him, but for you, were you managing your tires for most of the run, or were you pushing with like a decent amount of effort?
Yeah, I was just trying to push as hard as I could the whole time. This next gen car is weird. It's a lot different than the truck or the Xfinity car, where in those cars you have to save a lot. This car, you can kind of just run it more like a GT3 car, just pushing as hard as you can, which I think is where a lot of those mistakes came from. And the setup was a little bit difficult to drive too, so it made pushing that much more difficult. So yeah, just trying to get all you can every lap. Especially over 33 laps at this place with how long it is, it's tough not to make a couple mistakes throughout the race. So just glad that I only had one really big one and then was able to manage all the other ones.
Well, James, another win for you this season, win number 3. Thanks for talking to us, and we'll see if we talk to you in Victory Lane in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, just want to give a huge shout out to No Kid Hungry. I know they're sponsoring the race, and glad to have them on the car as well. Pretty cool to win the race with them on the car. So huge shout out to them. The donation links on all the social media. So if you have a little bit to spare, it would really help out. I know they'd really appreciate it. So big hats off to them. And then thanks to Simrap Market, Abruzzi, and Roasted Gems Coffee, and then you guys, of course, and the admin team and everybody for putting this on. And we'll try and get them tomorrow.
All right, James, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, with that, it's going to wrap up interviews here from Road America. Guys, final thoughts?
Sorry, I'm forgetting how to do my broadcast. Road America. Road America, one of my favorite places on planet Earth. Sad to have missed it tonight, but we have plenty of road racing left this week, so I'm excited for that. But I love this place. So fast, so consequential. And we saw that tonight. The drivers that kept it on the black stuff and kept the pace all through the evening were the ones that came out on top.
Definitely the case there for Skyley and Kern and plenty of others. And Weishaupt and Mitchell proved that even if you do make mistakes, there are opportunities to come back from them. And fortunately for those that did not have such a good run tonight, we are done with the road courses for the Cup side of things, and now we move back to ovals next 2 weeks from now, because we're off next week for 4th of July. Next 2 races before the postseason, Indianapolis Oval and Talladega. So that's going to be a fun one, Finian. And still got Road America for, I believe, trucks and the Pro Series, unless they go to different tracks.
Yeah, no, so actually tomorrow night we are going to go...
Mosport.
Yeah, I was going to say, tomorrow we're going north of the border, heading to Mosport. That's going to be a fantastic race. The trucks always end up putting a great race at that track in particular. Thursday night's going to be back at Road America for the Pro Series, but across all 3 series, the championship, the regular season at least, is wrapping up, and those final few spots are going to go away quickly, so stay tuned in for those battles. But for tonight, my name is Finian Kuna, here with Hunter Sleppy and Kyle Heyer, and we'll be signing out here from Road America. Thank you for watching.